Hello, yarn enthusiasts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this easy, beginner-friendly granny square pattern. Now, granny squares have so many uses. You can make blankets, you can make scarves, you can make summer and spring vests. There's so many projects you can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at the basic step-by-steps how to make this basic granny square. Now, to begin our project, we do need a few items such as some 4-weight yarn. I'm using an H 5mm crochet hook, and you will need a pair of scissors. Let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. I want this video to be as beginner friendly as possible, so to begin this granny square, we are going to start with a slip knot. Now, there are lots of videos out there how to do slip knots if you're not aware of how to do one just yet. Now what we will do is we are going to chain 4 stitches. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we want to turn this into a circle, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to attach our yarn to the first stitch. So go back to the very first stitch and you are going to insert your hook into that space. Now you're going to draw up a loop and pull it through. You're also going to pull that same loop through the one that you already had on your hook, just like that. Now what this does is it creates a little hole right here, and this is where we are actually going to be working our stitches to form our square. Now from here, we want to chain up 3, 1, make sure you have plenty of yarn there, 2, and 3. Now this will count as our first stitch. From here we want to work 2 more double crochets into that hole right here that we made. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that hole. We're going to grab our working yarn and draw up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. You can move this tail out of the way. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. Now you want to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 more. Now we have our chain 3, which counts as a stitch. We have a double crochet right here, and now we want to add 1 more for our cluster. So we're going to yarn over and go back into that space again and make another double crochet. At this point, we want to start our first corner. So we are actually going to chain 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And now we're going to do the same thing back into that ring. We're actually going to make 3 double crochets this time, because remember our chain 1 or our chain 3 right here counted as our first stitch. So yarn over, go into that loop, and make 3 double crochets. So here's 1. We're going to go in there and do it again. Here's 2. And then 1 more. And that's what it should be looking like so far. We have our cluster right here. This is our first corner. So remember, we have to make 4 corners. So now we're going to make another corner. We're going to chain 2 and then work 3 more double crochets back into the same middle space that we started. So there's 1. We're going to go back in for 2. And now we're going to make our 3rd double crochet in this cluster. Now we need to go ahead and make our 3rd corner, so we're going to chain 2. And now we are going to make 1 more chain 3 double crochets into this space right here. So yarn over, insert your hook, and make 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Now we want to have 4 cluster spaces, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we want to have 4 corners, but right now we only have 3, so we need to chain 2 to make our last corner. Now our chain 3 right here counted as a stitch. You see we have our 2 double crochets and our chain 3. Now we're actually just going to attach into the top of that chain 3. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, and slip stitch. And that is what the first round of the granny square looks like. Moving on to round 2, I like to slip stitch across these next 2 spaces. So we're going to make a slip stitch and another slip stitch. We're going to work a slip stitch right into the corner space right here because we want to start in the corner. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. This will count as our first stitch. So now what we're going to do is we are going to place another double crochet into this corner. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, and make 1 double crochet. Now we need to continue this corner, so we're actually going to chain 2 and then work 2 more double crochets back into the space right here. So chain 1 and chain 2, yarn over, insert your hook, and make 2 more double crochets. There we go. Now we have our first corner of round 2 done. Now in between these chains, all these double crochets right here, I like to chain 1. And then we're going to skip all of this work and go work into the next corner. Now at this point you can chain 2 if you'd like, but for this pattern I'm just going to chain 1. Now we are going to go into our next corner and we are going to make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Again, we need to build up that corner, so we are going to chain 2. Trust the process, guys. If it looks a little wonky, don't worry, it's all going to work out. Now we're going to make 2 more double crochets back into that same corner space. Get some more yarn here. 1 and 2. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to skip all these stitches here and we're going to go work into our third corner. Sorry about the dog hair. So work your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work 2 more double crochets back into that same space. 1 and 2. Chain 1, skip all these stitches, and then we're going to work into the last corner here. So 2 double crochets. Here's 1. Let me get some more yarn again. Here's 2. Now we're going to chain 2. And now we will work 2 more double crochets back into that same space. 1 and 2. Chain 1. And now you can see we're back at our first corner. So here is our chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch right into the top of the chain 3. Not the double crochet, but the chain 3. And then we'll just pull that loop through. And that is what you have for round 2 of your granny square. Moving on to row 3 and kind of our repeat, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Remember, I like to start in the corner, so then we're going to slip stitch into the corner. And at this point, we will chain up 3 like we did last row. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to work a corner. So as you see, now we have like these spaces in between, which we will be working in, but we're not working our corner stitches. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's start our corner. Let's work 1 double crochet here. And remember, this counts as a stitch. So now we will chain up 2 because we're working in our corner. We have 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So go ahead and work 2 more double crochets into that same space. You then want to chain up 1, and into this space we're just going to do 3 double crochets into that same space. We're not working a corner, so we're not doing any chain spaces or anything like that like we do in the corner here. So we're going to yarn over and go into this next space and work 3 double crochets. And just like that. Now we will chain up 1, and we're going to go work another corner space right here. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all into the same space right here. So here's 1, 2. Now we will chain up 2 and work 2 more double crochets back into that same space. Perfect. Now we will chain 1. And now we're back in the middle of our corner, so we're just going to work a cluster of 3 double crochets into this space right here. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now we're going to work another corner, so we're going to do, and a good way to tell, as you can see, these 2 chain 2. So that's where we're going to work another corner. So we're going to do our 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We will chain up 2. Work 2 more double crochets back into that same space. 1 and 2. Perfect. Chain 1. Now we need to do the same thing, the 3 clusters right here into our next space, because this is not a corner. So we will do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, chain up 1. Now we are going to work our last corner space, and then we have 1 more of our cluster spaces. So last corner, we're going to do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain up 2, and then 2 double crochets back into that same space. 1 and 2. Chain 1. And right here in this last cluster space, or this last space right here, we're going to do the 3 double crochets. Sorry if you guys hear banging. My upstairs neighbors are just terribly loud. Okay, so we will chain 1. And now right here we see our chain 3 again, which means we're back at the beginning. And we want to slip stitch to the top of that stitch. So we put our hook in, pull it through, and pull it through. And this is what it looks like when you are done with round 3. So the more that we go on, you'll see we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 corners. Now we have 2 of these spaces in between our corners. So this is where we will be working our 3 double crochets. And then we're only working the corners in the corner spaces. So I'm going to do 1 more row with you guys. The great thing about granny squares is you can make them as big as you want, as small as you want. You can attach them all together, and there are so many projects that you can make with these. Let's go ahead and jump on to round 4. So that means we want to do the 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So here we have 1, 2, we'll chain up 2, because that's what makes our corner. yarn over, go back into that same space and add 2 more double crochets. And now we're going to continue like we did on this side here. So at this point we will chain 1. We're going to work 3 double crochets into this space and this space. I'm going to do that a little bit faster just so that I can get through this to show you guys the next corner. 3, and then you'll do it into the next one. And then again, when you get to this side, you will work a corner. So we are going to work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets back into that same space. Chain 1, and then again 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, you work a corner, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, you'll do your chain 1, and then you'll attach into the top of your stitch here. And that is how you make a basic granny square. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if this was easy for you to understand, and if you need more instructions or what else you would like to see from Dream9 Design here on YouTube. And we'll see you guys all next time for another crochet tutorial. Bye, friends.